Say you are high all the time. Save those moments you take a sobriety tablet. And so descend the nerves of the heart, thinking straight, they call it. As if the mind were an arrow shot from the eye into the eyes of others, the ones you wronged, the ones you never knew you love or do not love, the black fathoms of their pupils deepening as your eyes close. And sure, it hurts. How something dead walks out your sleep, how it goes from blue to red like blood. And yet this stuff keeps calling you in a father's voice. You loved your father. So it's more than bitter seeds you swallow. It's the quiet pleasure within the limitations of one life, until the great space of the day gets wider, brighter, as if you were slipping into summer with its giant measures of desire. The way just sitting makes it rise. And yes, with each dose comes the gravity and boredom, the slow crush of August heat. But you are learning to live here in a town with one good street to speak of, one flock of trees to storm the night. In time, you are addicted. And it takes more of the drug to get you back to the world, where morning swallows flit in last night's rain. In time, you tell yourself you are the age you are. The little pains inside your arms, your legs, they are just that. The pinch that says you are not asleep. That the compulsion you feel is the pull of the planet you walk alone. And the dawn, however deep you breathe, is everyone's now. Everyone's breath in the sky above you. Everyone's sun aching into layers of mist, spitting fire in the eye. It's one black star dissolving like a pill. People. In the land of People magazine, Tara Reid is having a hard day. It's her body again, too fat, too thin, too much of a body to fit into our image of the prurient angel perpetually young. Here and there, the combustible cameras go on and off like fireflies that hover in the dark wood. You see them burn inside the startle of her gaze. I want to say, get a life, but then it is me who is reading People magazine. So many aging starlets, so many bright white shores filled with the exiles of heaven, with the desert palms and lemon trees that bend with ripened fruit. I look up from the page, and it's my turn in the chair at the dentist office. My brain gone gray as the tooth I came with. The large one she scrapes like a skeptic at a hieroglyphic. It's nothing, not yet, she says, only the seed of the filling shining through. And then there's the root of another one exposed. The way Tara was that night, her breath slipped out of her drunken joy. Drunken, yes, but joy. Were this the heart of April, I might hardly notice the cobalt blue of morning. Hallelujah, say the barren limbs that point every way but down. Tara Reid, chirp the dusty sparrows. And who would shame the shameless of their joy? It makes us feel like gods again. The deeper our indulgence, the more we turn the smooth complexion of the pages. Why pair the lives of stars until their bodies collide with insomnia and pills, with all the bright white teeth of sexual revenge? The gods know a good disaster when they see one, the kind that scandalizes a goddess, that roots her to the common ground. So it is when the divine mingle with blood and boredom, they too need a story to keep the cameras fluttering their eyes. Another Tara sits at her dresser brushing a bee from the lip of her wine. She suffers the silences of rooms inside of rooms like us. Another God seed enters the human the way we in turn enter theaters, the way the mind enters the hole at the end of a life. Only a dark like this knows what it is to turn gray and fester, to bear the beam of hope we shed not far, but far enough. One story bleeds into another, cut, a wrap, and she exits the scene taking with her a bottle of something disgraceful. Something we cannot see, no one does, not now, not ever. She opens her mouth, we open. Some silences are so thick they touch everything, like air that touches the objects in a room. Something kisses her lips. She swallows, we swallow. And then she turns away, taking with her the need for some last privacy and exposure all at once. If not youth, then abandon. If not wisdom, then mystery, which is a kind of youth. The common birds sing their December music. They sprinkle a sound like water from the hand of a priest, in fear, in joy, or both at once. Who are you to know, they say, and no one answers. Who are you, they sing, and will not stop. And then just one more poem. I too love George Oppen, and he wrote a long poem called A Being Numerous, which is very much about the social self. There's some quotes in here from Oppen. One that will pop up is just a brief quote. Crusoe, we say, was rescued, so we are chosen. I love that. But this is working that some of his metaphors and also a kind of different metaphor, but also I'm interested in the psychology of ethics and the idea of splinter cells and how that affects the way we work and behave. So this is called Words Against the Walls of the City, and it begins with an Oppen epigraph. Obsessed, bewildered by the shipwreck of the singular, we have chosen the meaning of being numerous. Night loves a ladder. A heart is housed in one. Just this morning I heard below me remnants of the whisper, the physical, the intellectual, the spiritual, ascending from the muck of who I was. When I was a boy, I stared into the rows of my cathedral. It was earth on fire from a distance. Pull yourself together, my father told me, and the words pulled me toward him. Intuition, I know, is not to be confused with desire. And yet, and so, it is. Truth cherishes no one. The lie, however, has favorites. A brain is made of them, little mercies, islands, wounds. I know a woman who's so many people, they cannot know one another. They cannot know you. Sleep is just one part of the story talking to another, and only sometimes with anything to say. This gut feeling, is it wisdom or a symptom, or both? Dreams sleep lightly, if at all. Faces tear away from them. When I first stood up, I became a line standing on a circle, just like a line in love a circle, bloodline, family circle. In my city, people gather at the fountain. Water pours without end. It makes me drowsy. It makes me say the things I never had the heart to say. Eyes close and the darkness opens. To judge what is not quite seen is never to see it. The hubris of shame says, divide, divide. Anxiety breaks its puzzle into small and smaller pieces as if that were one way to solve it. The world, thank heaven, is bigger than we think. The scene bigger than the eye it sees. My father sketched a tree and named it Us. Late at night, it would grow beneath his research. He called this family his. The greater the tree, the more of death it swallowed. To make one, the number one. What could be more serene, more horrific? The burden of knowing is never knowing enough. As a boy, I loved to separate the gears of a thing, to see it, blind to what it was. A bug, a watch, a conscience. Hell was the prospect of putting it back together. I like to be apart from things as law is, from the father from the criminal. High in the thought balloon above the body, I pried open the cage of the heart, then stopped to watch a while to see it labor so far away. The core, the cortex, this sad bag with an animal inside. Shadows cast the shadows of our moral pride. Admit it. Isn't the devil a little boring? Those who would cozy up to cruelty, is it not a little sentimental? He does not cozy. He has no friend. He cannot be broken like bread. He divides. The shipwreck of the singular is the shipwreck of the numerous. A junkie makes his connection. The vows of attention open, drowned in blood. He is alone among the others whose bliss makes them more sweetly brief, more distant. Crusoe, we say, was rescued, so we have chosen. Or did some other choose? I know people who talk to themselves in their sleep, who again and again refuse to listen. Once I cut a frog to see what was inside. In the tiny bowl of flesh, a measure of light. It ached the way light does. Not because I made it ache, me or some other law. My father, too, cut me now and then. He opened up my chest to lie down in the grave he made. He taught me light is fast. And time does not heal all wounds. Only the open ones. At night, I close the black jacket of my gospel and say, well, what I do know is this. Each morning, a city waits me from within. The shooting galleries of dream moan in the distance. The words they break, they mend and mend again. The body forgets nothing. It is not alone. It is the language for alone. It speaks to itself so that it might be one among the others, so that it might emerge. It leaves for no one. Father,